Hey, it's Laura Stylez from the Hot 94.
On your hot 9-7 every day, that's my work.
Hey guys, welcome to Improper Etiquette. Hey, my name is Laura Stylez and I have my homegirl, Leah.
Hi, Laura. Thank you so much for doing this interview with Snobette.
Of course. I love you guys.
Thank you. I'm going to start with your beginning days. You grew up in California. What city do you claim?
It's weird because I grew up in Los Angeles, right? Like real LA, like Hollywood and mid-city, like a little bit of both. But I moved to New York in '99. So I've been here for like 16 years now. So it's like half of my life. So it's like this, but this is pretty much my home. Like I don't plan to go back. But I love Los Angeles. I love it. My family still lives there.
What do you feel like is Los Angeles in you? Like, what do you feel like that is?
It's weird because whenever I meet people and they don't know that I was born and raised in Los Angeles, they always give me you don't seem like an LA girl. But sometimes I think some LA girls are stereotyped, like the typical, like superficial, like overly done, you know, super laid back. And I'm pretty much always on, so I guess that's what makes me different. But I've always been like that. So, you know, I mean, I'm a beach girl. So I love whenever I get a chance, I try to like escape and go to the beach. I mean, you know, New York doesn't have the best beaches, but we'll do. You know, we'll do with what we have, you know?
What beach in New York do you like to go to?
Sometimes I go to the Rockaways.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go
Nice
down
and
along
close.
it. Yeah. You know.
Okay, so you came in '99.
Like 99, yeah.
What was the atmosphere of the city at that time? It was a lot different.
Yeah, it was really different. I mean, to be honest with you, I came with a purpose. Like, I left Los Angeles. It was like a real turning point in my life where I was like, all right, just things weren't going good, and I really needed to take control of my life, and I needed to really, like, claim my destiny. So I really wanted to be a DJ growing up. But I come from a lower middle class family, which first generation Latina, where my parents didn't necessarily like believe in me being a DJ or believe that you can have a career in music, at least a successful one, if I wasn't like a famous singer or anything like that. They just didn't believe it. They're very realistic, and I grew up very realistic, and that's the approach that I've had through the majority of my career and in life. So when I moved to New York, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do radio. I fell in love with radio, and I was like, I'm going to do radio, looking up to, you know, females in the game. Like in LA, there was this lady named Nautica Cruz that I loved. And I loved her because when I listened to Nautica, I felt like she was my homegirl. Like, that's my homegirl. That's my girl. So it was just like an automatic connection. And I felt that way when I discovered Angie Martinez. Especially because Angie was such a B girl and she was like so into hip hop, and that was me at that time. So I was like, if she can do it, I could do it. So I had that approach, and I was like, yo, I'm gonna move to New York. It's the #1 market for radio, and I'm gonna be on Hot 97 one day.
Oh, you said that even then.
Yeah, that was my goal. I was like, I'm gonna be on Hot 97 one day.
And you started out at Power 105.
Yeah, I started off when I moved to New York. I was in college, and I had like 10 jobs. And because I have no family here, I moved here by myself on like dollar and a dream type deal, right? And through a friend of a friend of a friend, I ended up landing an internship, like a paid internship, answering phones and getting coffee for Clear Channel, the company that owns Power 105.1. And they launched the station, so it's at the very beginning of the station. So it was still like very experimental. They were still trying to figure out their direction. But that's where I started my career, behind the scenes. And then that's where I learned how to produce and, you know, how to edit and basically do everything. I became a producer working for that company. Okay,
so at that period of time, did you have like a top 3 or top 5 list in terms of artists, rap artists, R&B artists?
I mean, there was so much going on through my period there, and I have the worst memory. Like, it's really bad. Like, it's really bad. I remember, and I don't even smoke weed. I have like a really bad memory. But there was just really significant moments. Like, I remember, like, I've always been a huge Nas fan. Like, I love Nas and I love Jay, and I remember working at Power 105, and at that time was like the whole drama with the whole Best of Both Worlds tour. Do you remember that? So I remember I was there. I witnessed all of that as it went down. So there was like special moments that I can tell you with artists that happened that I was like in love with. And I was in love with, I love Nas. and I loved Jay, and I loved, well, you know, at the time, everyone was an R. Kelly fan at that time, you know what I mean?
Big time.
So it was just, he had hits. So I'm trying to think.
Did you have an opinion, by the way, on who won that battle?
The Jay and Nas
Yeah.
situation? Well, you know, it's like, it's such a huge debate. I'm just a big Nas fan.
Okay.
So at that time, I felt that, you know, Nas won that war, you know? But that's just me. Everyone can argue whatever.
Yeah, there's absolutely.
And I'm a huge Jay fan too, so don't get me wrong.
Right.
I'm just glad that that's done and over with. We did get some good music out of it though.
Ether is an amazing song.
Yeah, Ether's pretty tight.
All right, so now, do you have a top 5 list in terms of rap artists, like artists who are currently recording and active?
I don't. People ask me that all the time. I don't have like. I don't like ranks. I don't do that. I don't have any. I don't. It's really hard for me to pick and be like, this is my number one. I don't have that. But I have people who I love, and like right now. So if you're asking me right now, like I love Chance the Rapper. You know, The Coloring Book is an incredible album. I love Anderson .Paak. Malibu was awesome, and I had the chance to meet Anderson .Paak before when he was on Compton, and there's just something about him that's so awesome. Like he's so talented and so bright, and it's like I'm really excited to see what he has to offer, and this I feel the same way about Chance.
Okay.
And then the whole TDE movement too. Like I just met Isaiah Rashad for the first time, and I've seen, of course, I love Kendrick, and I can't wait, you know, to see what he has, and Schoolboy Q, but I mean, I get really, really excited for young artists that have like amazing sounds. Like Isaiah Rashad is super talented, and he has like a really good story. You know, he recently just opened up about his struggles with addiction at a young age, so he kind of like disappeared, and he was like the underdog for a long time in that group. So it was really interesting for him to come out and be open and honest about his struggles, and, you know, and just be, I told him, I was like, because when he got here, he got a little emotional, but it's important, and I feel it's very brave for you to face your demons, especially in public.
Oh my gosh. You know, it creates a connection between you and the person.
Absolutely.
Without that, it's just bubblegum, basically.
Yeah, but I love Bodega Bamz also. I've been a part of his career. Like I've really pushed him and helped him, and I was one of the first ones to really like help bring him to like mainstream. Like I think he's incredibly talented, and there's something really special about him.
You know, I mean, it sounds like you've seen a lot of people come up, basically.
Yeah.
And come through this station.
Yeah.
What are some of the things you see that contribute, you think, to a successful career? Like, what are like typical behaviors?
Well, I will say that I wish there was more artist development, because I've had artists come in here and are so clueless of what they're getting into. Like they're not coached or briefed or on anything, you know? So sometimes something as little as make sure when you shake somebody's hand, you shake it like you mean it, you know, eye contact, or just being engaging in a conversation. Like you'll be in an interview and it'll be full of like one-word answers, you know? So it's like, there's artists that came in here, like we had an interview with Sunny Digital, the producer, right? I didn't really know too much about him, but he came in here and he was so awesome. Like he just had great conversation. He was so passionate that made me a fan and made me want to go out and, you know, like really dig into some of his work. And now I look out for him, and when I see him, I'm like, oh, dope, that's a Sunny Digital production, or you know what I mean? But it's like, it makes such a difference, and I wish more new artists were aware of that.
Just how to behave.
Yeah, just to understand like what you're getting into when it comes to, you know, like promo. I mean, I get it. Look, some artists don't even like doing interviews. Right. I get it, but I think like Bryson Tiller came up here and he didn't want any cameras, right? He was really camera shy. He didn't want to do reviews. One of the few times we made that exception, he came in here and we had so much fun. We had a great interview. At the end, he was like smiling and laughing, and I could tell like we could have just had this on camera. It's not that big of a deal. Like we're not here to attack you, you know?
Yeah.
But I think, you know, like I said, I feel like, you know, I wish more artists were really coached and really nurtured and had them understand a little bit more of what the industry is about and their journey, you know.
Do you think that's become more prevalent now versus when you first entered the industry?
Absolutely.
All right.
I mean, people invested more time into their craft, and it goes in, and it's in levels. You know, it's like we had this discussion about like how kids have all this access now, right? And the internet, how it's changed, you know, the music industry. I think people now are in a special place because they can take advantage of the platforms that surround them, right? Now you can become a star being on Instagram. You can become a star on YouTube and make a lot of money. You know, you can be an independent artist and make your own money without caring about a label, you know?
Right.
But at the same time, that also, you know, it's like people don't put as much as importance in their craft like they wish they would, you know. Sometimes they put out songs on SoundCloud, but they're not even mastered or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I wish they had like a real producer to really like glue it and put it all together like
Polish
a complete
it.
package. And it's
Yeah.
necessary sometimes.
What about things like to what degree do you when do you tolerate sort of bad behavior when it comes to artists, like showing off late or having a little bit of an attitude?
We've canceled on people. Like if we're in a tight schedule, we're to the point. I mean, look, I'm in a special place also because our show is pretty. You know, we have we're one of the #1 shows. You know what I mean? So we're in a
You're
place
an
where
iconic radio.
we can do that.
station,
You know,
yeah.
but we respect the artists too, and that's one thing people don't understand. But just like we respect you, you need to respect our time also. So when people show up late, hey, if we don't have anything else to do and we have time to stick around, we'll wait. You know what I mean? But there's times where we have like scheduled interviews back to back to back. So if you're late, you're making the next artist late, and you're making the next artist late. So it's like we've canceled a lot of people, and a lot of people have been upset. But it goes into really like, you know, making sure that the artist knows what they're getting themselves into, and just respecting people's time in general. And not only in this business, in every aspect of life, it should be like that.
Absolutely. I almost feel like people show you how committed they are to succeeding a lot of times by how they behave.
Right.
They may talk a big game, but then they do something else. You know, the music industry is known for being super shady. Do you feel like are people nicer now? Is it less shady than?
No.
No.
It's the same.
All right.
And I think it's the same. Yeah, the music industry is very competitive, and there are less jobs now, and it continues to shrink. And we were having this discussion even with your team. You know, it's like there was a time where we had budgets for like hair and makeup, and you know, and so many things that now it's like it's non-existent. You know, now you don't need a whole team to like. A photographer, a videographer, because that person can do everything, you know? So jobs are definitely shrinking, so people are a little bit more cutthroat about things. But I feel like if you want to be a functioning piece of this puzzle, you need to make sure you perfect your craft, because that's one thing that nobody can take away from you. Like if you want to work in this space, the more you know is the more valuable you are. Like me, like I'm an on-air personality, but I can edit, I can produce, I can, you know, come up with like, you know, a whole show. So it's like I have tons of skills, you know, I have tons of relationships, so I'm always, you know, valuable when it comes down to it. And I feel like, and there's been times where other people have, you know, missed out on opportunities and positions because I just know how to do so much more. Or the next person, you know, not just me. But, I mean, it's always, every business is shady. You know what I mean? If you really think about it, whether it's in Wall Street, whether it's in, you know, beauty, whether it's in fashion, every business is shady. So you should just prepare yourself to whatever it is your dream is, to fight if you really love it.